Hi guys, Rachel with Spunky Misfit Girl here, and this project is going to be a little bit more complicated, but I really like how it looks. So we're actually going to do it a little bit differently than what I did in the sample here, because I followed a tutorial that was a little hard to understand and ultimately made some changes that didn't really make sense and didn't really work out. So I'm gonna change it again in the video in real time, and yours will turn out better. So what this is a craft envelope, and mine is, you know, some kind of normal size, 5x7. So, you know, you could use really any envelope for this, probably whatever you like, something you've coffee dyed, some kind of junk mail envelope. I just have a million of these, and like using them. And it has a closure, policy closure on the front that wraps around, decorated flap. Now it's supposed to have a pocket in here, and I didn't do it that way. And it wasn't until afterward that I realized, well, it's really pretty silly to have the closure when I don't have a pocket inside there. But it's beautiful anyway. There's a pocket here at the bottom. And so what we're going to do is we're actually going to put our pocket like this on the back and decorate our front of our envelope so that we still have our pocket inside our envelope and it still makes sense to have our closure. And then we're going to take what we did on the front or on the back of this one and put it on the front. Okay. So this is a big part of what I liked. Here is just this kind of little, we've got some charms with a kind of long bit of twine here, and we've got some layered papers that look really nice. And because I did it this way, I put a little pocket on the back behind it all, but we'll put this so that it goes on the front underneath your closure, and it will all work out beautifully. So the first thing you're going to want to do is decorate your flap. Now I have a template because I use these kinds of envelopes all the time. So I've already cut a piece of paper, but what you can do really easily is just use the shape and trace around it and then cut if you want to leave excess around the edges. You'll just want to cut that to the inside of your line a little bit. And that you're going to do first because we need to see what our, we need to know what we're going to have here for paper so that we can make our closure. And the closure is something we want to make right away so that it has time to dry before we put it on. And I am going to use my 1-inch circle punch to do 2 craft cardstock circles. And I actually don't know if I planned, I have this guy here. Maybe that was my thought. Although I did not bring my other guy. I have this little guy. Maybe this guy will go on top. Actually, this might be the same size as my other one. Look at that. It is. That's my 5/8 inch. I actually have a different one, but this one's the same size. 2 punches of the same size. Okay, so the question is, what do we want for our 2? I've got this here. This is gonna be my thing. Yep, I think we're gonna do this guy for the big one, and then this guy for the little one. And we'll glue those. Oh, for goodness sake. Okay. I'm not used to my punches having covers on them. So I'm just going to glue these together. And let those dry while we do some other stuff. So you're going to want to decorate your front of your envelope, and that's also something where I have a template because I make journals out of these envelopes all the time. However, what I would do, and that's the other thing too. So if you have multiples of that same envelope, that same size envelope, you can open one up and use the inside of the opened one to make a template. Otherwise, I'm not sure how I would. What you could do if you wanted to make it easy is just make one the full size and give it a notch and let it be, you know, just glue it really well along here. And then you would just have a full, I actually sort of like that idea. I mean, it's going to get covered up by these guys anyway, so you could even just leave it. If you have a pretty envelope, if you have something that you've coffee dyed, you could stamp on it rather than doing paper. There's lots of different ways you could do this. I'm just gonna go ahead. I sort of wish that I had done this with a full page, but I would love it if you guys do this and you do it with a full page with a notch. Let me know how this turns out. So I'm just gonna put this one, let's not get those in our way, and cover that up. Okay. So the next thing I wanna do, oh, yeah, I actually was not supposed to do that yet. See, because I did a reinforcement spot for the, all right, let's lift that up real quick. So it's okay, there's still time, I swear. Fabri-Tac is my buddy. There's still time. So, because what we want to do first is we're going to reinforce this spot where the closure is going to go. And I'm going to punch a 2-inch circle with my 2-inch circle punch. You could also just do something straight. Just cut out a rectangle and fold it in half. So that guy is actually going to go on. So my closure is going to be about here. I actually want this guy to go on about here, just because this is just an envelope. It doesn't have a lot of weight to it. And that will give us a bit of a better deal with our string there. So then we can cover this up again. And we're good because we're going to put our string on the back, right? put our string on the back. So we give this a little bit new glue. I can already tell this is going to be a little bit of a difficult one. I mean, it was a difficult one just making the sample, but I really think the way those papers look on the front is worth it. Yeah, okay, so because what we're gonna do on the back is put our pockets gonna go back here. So I actually made a little guy to go back here. And I think, okay, so let's put our string on before we forget. We're gonna do our string for our closure back here. Okay, and that's gonna be long enough to come around our front. And let's glue that on, and I am going to tape it down to, just cause I'm actually gonna make this go a little farther. Our pocket's gonna come back here, right? And I actually used my fabric tape for this because I wanted it to be nice and strong. And I'm gonna do it over here like this. And then also do a little bit going the other way, just so that it is not gonna be subject to pull around or move around at all. Okay. So I think we want to wait. I think we actually want to wait with our pocket on the back. Yeah. Because we're going to do our eyelets on the front. So what we want at this stage we're going to want a piece in here. Did I do that? I don't know if I made that. I have my template here that I used for that. And I brought some papers. I think I was planning for this. I don't know. I think that's not maybe my favorite with that. I also have this guy that's a little weird too. And I have more of this one. I think that is maybe the one. So for that, I'm going to use my template. That has to wait. It can't go on until my closure goes on. So we need to pay attention to our order of operations here. Oh, this is going to be impossible to see. Okay, so this is just a version of the same envelope that I've opened up. And this is totally optional. You wouldn't have to do this. If it's too complicated, again, you could decorate that inside with some stamping. Or just leave it. It's really not a big deal if you're using a junk mail envelope where you only have one, or even just that you don't want to fuss with all this template stuff. So I'm gonna just cut this guy out of here so that he's ready. And then I think we could actually put the closure on. At this stage. So this usually has to, because it's right at the size, so it needs a little bit of trimming down to fit inside. So I'm just going along my sides, and that's gonna fit inside here. Like these. See? Pretty. And then I usually will fold this and ink it everywhere. That's going to be seen anyway, including this fold that I just made, because I like that look. So if you're doing this, that's a nice optional piece as well. Okay. So let's go ahead and see how our closure is doing. We'll put that on there. Ink him up. And I am going to use a big brad for this guy. So I'm just making a hole with my crocodile. And let's see where we want this guy to go. On here, and make a mark right there. And then a hole in here. And we'll put this guy on with a big brad, and then we can cover up our brad legs with that inside paper. Okay, closure ready. Okay, now this guy goes inside. And then we'll get to the fun part. Adding our peepers over the top. Give us a nice, real junk journal-y look. I think my envelope's gonna need some inking too. My edges. Okay, well, that guy goes in there happily. He might get a trim on the outside later. All right, now, next thing we want is our scrap papers for the top. So I prepped mine all ready to go so that they're layered in a way that looks really nice. I ripped certain edges and left other edges straight so that these guys end up in a way that I like. I think this guy goes in like this. I added a little die cut. What is that? Lock? To the front, because I liked how that looked. So I am going to clip these guys to my envelope in the way that I want them to sit here. This guy on the top, I liked that. It's not quite the full width though, so I'm gonna pull these guys. I'm gonna pull these guys all in to be underneath. This guy and not the envelope. So that, yeah, so that this guy makes the top. We might still see some, yeah. Perfect. And they are a little bit longer. So I want to clip because I'm going to clip these over here. I'm going to be doing eyelets on the top. They're a little bit longer than the envelope, which I liked that look too. Problem is this guy's not clipped in because I'm clipped over there. So let me clip. I'm going to clip over here too. And I think that'll keep everything where it needs to be. Okay. And we'll just be kind of careful. So we want the flap out so that we don't get that in there. And we're right side up. We put everything right side up. So just double checking that. So then we're going to decide where do we want our holes. And we are going to punch those and put some eyelets in. It's a bit tricky here. I actually think I'm going to need to come down a little more. So I'm going to just, I don't really want to measure seriously, but I want to keep things kind of on the same line. I actually don't have my straight ruler, but that's okay. We'll eyeball. I want to stay kind of close to the top too here. So I'm going to go right about up here. I think that's my middle one. And then we're just going to go approximately the same distance on either side. Okay? Good enough, right? That's the way we do it. And we're going to do the bigger holes today with some bigger eyelets. So I don't actually need to do that yet, but I'm switching my eyelet guy, my crocodile, to my bigger eyelet setting, which I am going to need in 1 second. But first, we're going to punch the holes. And then we'll dig out some of those big eyelets and enlarge our holes and get these guys in there. And these are often fussy little beasties. So thank you, if you're still watching, to whoever gave me this trick. I always go pretty deep in with my pencil because it's very hard. These really just don't fit in that hole unless I am pretty aggressive, and you'll see they still, I really just need to push that hole a little bigger. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that on all of these. Oh, there we go. That guy set. Okay, I'm gonna set this one so that nothing moves around. Because that's the trouble with this. Go ahead and set those one at a time. Make this one bigger. Yeah. This is such a pretty looking thing when you're done. I love how it's turning out already. I gotta do this last one. Oh, I don't think that was enough. Okay. Setting our last eyelet. Come on. It's like just right there. Just not quite. Ugh. There we go. I don't want to have to do it again. And set. All right. Them's our eyelets. Wonderful. 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 Okay, so now we're going to put our string in. And I'm going to just use some twine again because I love that look. And it's going to come, I don't know, let's just make it super long. And I can cut it down. So I'm going to do it like this. Right? Is that what I want? Or I want it up. I think I want it up. No, I want it down. One down through each of the two side ones, and then both of them up through the middle. And then tie around that guy that goes over the top. Like this. That is my preferred way to do these sorts of things. Okay, I'm gonna tie 2 knots because I'm not gonna do a bow. I'm gonna do it long like I did this guy because I like that. And so, we're gonna find a couple charms. And I had this lock on the front. So it was kind of fun to do a key with it. So let's see what we have for keys left here. This guy's pretty. It might be a little bit small on that hole to get my twine through. This guy's kind of big and chunky. I think he's a little too big and chunky for this tiny little envelope project. A lot of these are small. I need some bigger ones. Maybe one of the bird. Ooh, there's a nice big one. Yeah, let's do those two. I was gonna say maybe one of the bird cages, but let's do these here. And I am gonna trim these down. I want to have enough to make knots here on these guys. And I'm gonna, I think, make them, that's maybe a little bit longer than what I want. I'm gonna make them both different sizes. So we'll go up on this one too. Be quite a bit more. On this one, I did a little bulb pin too. She could also do it that way. That's kind of fun to give it a little bit of a different look on that second one. but I think I'm gonna leave that for now. So now we've got our papers on the front. So pretty. I think I'm gonna shorten both of these. Our pockets in the back still. We can still use that pocket. And we've got our closure here. I'm gonna give that a fold, which goes over the top. And actually, you might, because of the closure, prefer to leave your charms long. This guy got a little bit too far over. I'm gonna trim him off. It's a little angled and doesn't quite fit right. Oh yes, but I love this. So this closure is gonna come in here like that and keep your pocket closed. Let's cut him down a little too, because that's very big. So, only thing we have left is our back. Okay, and so now we have our eyelets, our backs of our eyelets showing in that back. And so, and of course this guy too. So we're gonna cover that up with a pocket, a very pretty pocket. And so I made this guy as a decorative piece to go on top, and I was gonna just, I think I had a piece here, yep, that I had planned for the outside back of this. And I'm going to make, now I did the pocket on the bottom with the other one just because that's how she'd done it, and I kind of liked it. It was a little bit different. However, I think with this one, I'm going to go ahead and make it on the top. And what we're going to do first, before we put this on, is actually, this is just paper. And given that this is only one envelope, and if you were to stuff it full, it'd be a little bit not so sturdy, maybe easily ripping. So I'm just reinforcing this, the piece of paper that's going to form my pocket, with some manila folder. Okay, so that it's a little bit sturdier when it goes on there. That is totally optional. I'm sure it wouldn't really be a big deal. And if this is just a fun project that you're doing for an afternoon, it'd be totally fine to just use the paper and make that pocket. But this does give you an option for making it a little sturdier. So I'm thinking that's going to, well, okay, but we don't want the pocket at the top. That's why I did do the pocket at the bottom, is because these are here, and that would be, it wouldn't work. So we're going to put this guy on like this, which when I was making this, I did not account for my pocket notch. I think what I'll do is I'm going to just on here do my notch, and then I will put this guy over the top and not care that it covers a little bit of that notch. I think that's fine. I love it. Okay, so then I'm just going to glue this on first on the top and the sides, so I get my pocket on there. And then, and this is a little bit tricky because of that those eyelets. And you know what you could do also, if you didn't want to deal with that, I'm going to clip it on there because I do think this will work. The thing is you could do your pocket first and then do your eyelets with your papers. However, then those backs of your eyelets are going to show. And I just think it's not very attractive. And I liked the idea of being able to cover those up. And I think it will work, even though it's a bit bulky. So then she is going to go on. I'm going to just scoot these up, keep that down, and she's going to go on like this. Pretty girl. Oops, I should have probably this middle part here should not get glue where it goes over the notch, so that I don't glue my pocket closed. Right? Look at that. Stunning. Maybe not the most functional project ever, but really, really beautiful. I really like the way that this whole setup looks with the papers on the front like that. And then having the little kind of different pocket on the back. Kind of secret. It's on the bottom. It's, you know, it's not totally obvious that there's a pocket there. And now it's just a matter of filling this guy up with a few things on that inside. I'm going to take those off and see how that looks. I love it. Beautiful, different. And the other thing is, too, if you didn't want to fuss with this back bit and the showing eyelets, the backs of the eyelets, this would be a really fun thing to just put into your junk journal, right? If you have a bigger journal that you're working on, just leave that blank and glue it in. And then this is a really beautiful page in your journal. I actually like that idea better. And I think that's what you should do. Just make the front part of this, forget about that back and the pocket in the back, and just glue this guy into your journal, and it makes an absolutely beautiful journal page. And you wouldn't even have to do, you could also cut this. You could just cut the flap off, make it a super easy project, cut the flap off and not do a closure and just glue it in like this. And I also love that. I think I might actually do that with a couple of these for journals that I'm working on. Anyway, that's your project for today. Thank you so much for watching and crafting along with me and coming on this journey. I appreciate every single one of you. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments. Tell me about the projects you're making. I really love being a part of this little YouTube community with you guys. I will see you in the next video.